B. 1. Churchill in Canada is known as the polar bear capital of the world. Day-to-day life is shaped by the polar bears living close to the town. Residents have bear-proof rubbish bins and the province employs bear patrol guards to accompany children when they are trick-or-treating at Halloween. It is common practice for people to leave their parked car doors unlocked, should they encounter a wandering bear. 2. Babies are born with surprisingly little innate knowledge about even the most basic dangers. As many parents will know through terrifying experience, babies who are first learning to crawl will attempt to push themselves off the edge of a bed without a moment's hesitation. Studies suggest that fear of height only comes from experience. It is only after a few weeks of independent movement that, such as a racing heartbeat when, for example, they see a sharp drop through a glass floor. 3. Social media are destroying our ability to concentrate. The human brain is naturally single-minded, producing only one or two thoughts in the conscious mind at any one time, but because of the e-world we have fallen into the habit of multitasking. Teenagers, for example, may believe that they can follow multiple forms of media all at the same time, but when neuroscientists studied this, they found that when people believe they are doing several things at once, they are actually juggling. They are switching their brains back and forth, reconfiguring their brains each time they move between tasks. But research has shown that performance drops and mental processing becomes slower. It's called the switch cost effect. 4. James Bowen met Bob at a troubled stage of his life, when he had just stopped being homeless but had very little money. Bob was a handsome cat, but in need of medical treatment. He followed James home, and refused to leave. James took pity on the homeless cat, and spent money on him that he could not really afford, until Bob recovered. At that time James was scraping a living as a street musician. Bob started accompanying him when James went out, riding on James's shoulders. Audiences were charmed by the sight of the pair. They gave generously to James after his street concerts, and his income increased dramatically. James and Bob became even more successful after they starred in films. James is grateful to Bob for his good fortune. He shows it by speaking up for charities for the homeless and animal welfare. 5. Vegetarians don't eat any fish or meat. In other words, they don't want to eat any living creature that has been killed to provide them with food. So, for example, vegetarians will refuse to eat chicken or ham, but they may include dairy products such as milk and yogurt in their diet. Vegans agree with vegetarians, but they go a step further. They don't want to consume any animal products at all, because they believe that doing so harms animals. They will reject dairy products because taking milk is to the disadvantage of animal mothers, and deprives young animals of the milk they need. Similarly, vegans will not eat honey because bees need honey to survive in winter, or to feed to their young. 1. Individual wealth is reaching levels we've never seen before. What might that mean? At the beginning of each year, the world's corporate and political elite gather in the Swiss ski resort of Davos to pat each other on the back, attend seminars on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, whatever that might be, and generally discuss the state of the world. Rarely is so much wealth to be found in so few conference rooms. And each year, Oxfam, the global development charity, takes the opportunity to calculate and publish the data about the state of global inequality. Oxfam's findings are often eye-catching, but this year especially so. B. It's true that a certain amount of inequality is built into capitalism. Some will work harder than others or be more prepared to take risks. But it turns out that such extreme inequalities are unnatural, politically dangerous, and actually threaten economic stability. There is evidence that unequal societies are more vulnerable to shocks, and more likely to suffer political instability. Research by the International Monetary Fund identified inequality and the loss of worker bargaining power as leading factors in the 2008 financial crash. Some economists and philosophers, such as Ingrid Robines, argue that a hard upper limit on individual wealth is not only morally and socially right, but economically desirable.